Doobie-da-ba-ba-ba. 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 Sperm Sisters.
This is a story about sisters, just not the kind that you're expecting.
3 years ago, we were strangers, living separate lives.
Now we know we're biological sisters, connected by the same sperm donor.
And that's just the beginning.
This podcast dives headfirst into the how, the why, and the uncomfortable questions no one seems to want to answer.
Uncovering secrets the medical world would rather keep buried. How many donor-conceived people are there really?
No one can give a straight answer. Not the clinics, not the system, no one.
So, how many siblings could be walking past us every day without a clue?
It's messy, it's shocking. At times, it's almost impossible to believe.
And somehow, it's also really funny.
Come with us as we dig deeper, ask the uncomfortable questions, and laugh our way through the chaos of discovering who we really are and just how many of us there might be.
Coming up on this week's episode of Sperm Sisters. Helen shares her teenage identity complex.
I don't want to offend anybody, but Swedish would have been better. I think I just basically heavily bleached my hair at that time as well, which gave me a sort of like identity dysmorphia.
And we chat about our donor's DNA.
Guys, it's really big. The difference is huge for me. I grew up thinking that I was, half Welsh, little bit of Irish in there on my dad's side and English on my mum's side, and the results came back and I was biologically, the donor is Welsh with a little bit of Irish. So welcome back everybody to the next episode of Sperm Sisters. Last week we introduced ourselves, but we thought this time might be better, or just have a bit of fun with it, to introduce each other. So I'm Gemma, and I'm going to be introducing my sister to the right of me, Nat. Okay. I have the honour of introducing Nat. She is absolutely gorgeous. She's getting married this year, by the way. Congrats. Yay. We've got the hen do in a couple of weeks and we're absolutely buzzing about it. She is one of the funniest, kindest people you will ever meet, and you would really want her on your team. She has a background of professional dance and ballet, and she oversees the healthcare plans for professional ballerinas today. She is a bright cookie. She is a wonderful person. And it's an honour to call her my sister.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. Helen's panicking.
She's panicking. Mine's just quite short, but short and sweet nonetheless.
Okay.
I'm introducing Gemma. Gemma is the most incredibly talented artist in all of Surrey, with a flair for all things colour and florals. Mum to two hilarious toddlers and one giant fluffy golden retriever, Albus. Mm-hmm. A fun fact about Gemma is that she spent years of her childhood wearing a bow in her hair, as she actually thought she was Matilda.
You don't know that I stopped.
And that is it. It's me now, and I'm Natasha, and I'm introducing Helen. Now, Helen is a piano teacher, a very talented singer, partner to Jack and mum to Oscar, dog mama to Bella, and unwavering in her devotion to fantasy, borrowed Britney Spears, and blessed with an uncanny ability to inject hilarity and lightness into absolutely any situation. It's a Helen Hicks, everyone!
Woo! Thank you. Lovely. I have nothing wrong said about the fantasy perfume from Britney Spears, I've got to say. No one wears it anymore. You can get it for 15 quid from Superdrug.
Earlier, Helen went, it doesn't go off.
It doesn't. I think it's so chemically based that it will never go off. I can't actually remember the last time I bought Fresh on. It's still going strong. Delicious. On last week's episode, we took a deep dive into the UK's history around donor conception. We covered all things laws, regulations, and even just some crazy facts that we may not have known before. In terms of our story, it just showed that myself, Natasha, and Gemma were all created at a time which we now like to call the Wild West of the donor conception years. If you want to go and check that out, give us a follow and you can listen to last week's episode. Now, on with the pod.
Today's episode is going to be about roots, identity and DNA. You right there, darling?
Sorry, I got a cat hair in my tea. Sorry. Carry on.
Really wanting to join in.
So on today's episode, we are going to be focusing on roots, identity and DNA and why it is an issue for everybody, not just the likes of us lot who are donor conceived. It prompted the idea, it was a spark and now it's grown. But basically, we think that this is an issue for every single person walking this earth, whether you're donor conceived, adopted or fortunate enough to know your biological parents. Knowing where you are from based on your DNA should be one of the core foundations of what builds you as a person. Like building blocks, our roots and identity are the foundation of everything we are and why we are the way we are. Humans have a yearning to know where they are from. We're really primal creatures. We have this herd mentality. We have this need to be part of a clan or a family, a sense of belonging. And it's going back to the primal thing. I think it's probably because we feel stronger as a group and we're not going to be picked off by predators or, we're not going to be the weakest ones or anything like that. But we don't survive alone. Like, we need to be with people. And I think when you are growing up, elements of your childhood and everything shape you as who you are, whether that's culturally or family traditions. Lots of things happen in your life that form you and build you up. But personally, I grew up thinking I was from a typical 2.4 English family, a little bit Welsh, but very proud to be Welsh. Learnt the Welsh national anthem, went to rugby matches, die-hard Wales, had the rugby shirts, everything. And I was like, okay, cool. That's who I am as a person. I mean, it's not that exciting, I guess, because we moved down the M4 to where I grew up, but those types of things do form you. And when you're driving back to Wales and you're seeing the rolling hills and the sheep and you're like, I'm coming back to the fatherland. That's the paternal side that I grew up knowing. And there was always something quite I don't know why it felt like there was like a pride when it was St. David's Day or anything like that. But there was, and something in me really hammed it up as well. But I think it was also pushed onto me. I was taught how to do family DNA and do the ancestry stuff when I was in my teens. Like, it was like, this is where you're from. These are your grandparents, great-grandparents. Here's a picture of your great-grandparents. There it is. And then it was different with my mum's side because she was much calmer about it, but all incredibly musical and creative. And I thought, well, that's where I get my creativity from as an artist. But I was a bit like, is that enough creativity? Is that enough creativity to make you an artist? Because I eat, sleep and breathe it. I'm rambling now, but you know what I mean. Like, that was before. We should, do you know what? I think we should coin the term the day that we found out that we were donor conceived. DC Discovery Day or something like that. The day you discovered that you were donor conceived, because
It's a big day.
it's huge.
Your whole life changes on that one day, massively. I know that sounds really overly dramatic.
It's not.
It's actually not, because you question your entire identity,
Yeah.
which I guess is what you're...
Yeah. Because all of that, spending the time, I'm not being funny, learning Welsh, the Welsh national anthem, rugby's on, we need to go and watch this, going to the pub, going to wear red and everything like that. And then you're sort of like, well, what am I going to wear now when the match is on? I can't. That's a lie, isn't it? It's just a colour. It's just a rugby top. But it was such an important part of who I was. And then I felt like that was taken away from me when I found out. It was so weird. But I mean, that is like... I feel when I say that, I'm like, I couldn't wear the Welsh rugby shirt anymore. Like, it's a real first world problem, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, my life was a lie. Fantastic. So I've had 3 decades on this planet. Muggins. You do feel like I felt a bit of like a fraud. and completely lost. Like the other half of me was like, what are you, kind of thing. But let me open it up to you guys.
We know other people who are also donor conceived, right?
Yes.
And I think for some of the other people that we know, being donor conceived is not it hasn't not thank you very much. It hasn't impacted them in the same way as perhaps it impacted the three of us, whereby being like, you know, we were quite invested in wanting to get to know each other quite quickly. We wanted to learn about the sperm donor. We wanted to try and discover who they were and, you know, what made up the other half of us. Whereas I think not everybody does feel that way. I don't think some people do feel lost. I don't think some people do feel like they've been cheated.
Yeah. I would love to meet someone who doesn't feel cheated. I haven't met them yet. But they clearly are out there.
Yeah.
So if you are donor conceived and you're like, I'm cool with it, I don't care.
I think a lot
Get in
of the
touch.
relevance is in how you find out.
Yeah.
So if you've always grown up knowing you're donor conceived, it probably doesn't bear a lot of relevance on your life because you've already known. But when you find out much later in life, invariably probably from a source of trauma is when it tends to come out statistically. It's either through divorces, death, or I can't think of any other trauma now, but trauma.
Close. Well,
Two key ones.
Those ones are pretty big traumas.
Yes.
So that's normally where it would rear its head. And I think it's also happening in conjunction of a time that's always going to be difficult in somebody's life anyway. So it sort of amalgamates itself with lots of different emotions.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it truly affects people, because then they start to think, if they found out later in life, that actually their life was a lie. And also another way to think about it is, if somebody said to you that they were adopted and they found out much later in life that they were adopted, you would of course think, oh my God, how horrific to then find out how that much later in your life. That must be awful. There seems to be a level of understanding about adoption and I guess like a lack of identity awareness of where you're from, but I don't know whether it's only because it's one half, but with donor conceived revelations, probably not that much level of maybe empathy.
I've never thought of it like that, to be honest, but I think you've just you've just really opened up a tin of worms here.
Helen,
yeah, because
you're so right.
Yeah, I have never even considered like thinking that we might be in a similar boat.
I think it's a super similar boat.
Yeah.
Admittedly, being adopted is both sets of parents, right?
Yeah.
And being donor conceived traditionally would be one set of parent that you then don't know. But you're still dealing with a loss of identity, a loss of knowing where you're from, even if it's just one half of you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I think she's the smartest sister.
Yeah.
Well,
Also,
I didn't know Arkansas was Arkansas. So I don't think we can say that.
But I think you're right, though. You're so right, because we found out in trauma, you found out in trauma, and yeah, maybe the people that are cool with it are the ones who grew up in a home where they spoke about it. But we were from the era where, when we were conceived, the advice for our parents was, don't tell them, raise them as your own. You don't know whether it's like the dad's sperm or the donor sperm, because we're not even going to tell you. Are we all okay to say how we found out?
Yes.
In trauma?
Yes.
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 Pass me the tissues.
Here we go.
Here. Who's going first?
Who would like to revisit their childhood trauma first? No?
Oh, okay. I'll get over and done with. Okie dokie. So when I was 21, I think, 21 or 22, and my mum had just passed away. And my father, who brought me up, told me the day before my mum's funeral that he wasn't my father. And that was like his exact words. He was like, I have something to tell you. Sat me down on the kitchen table, and he just said, yeah, I'm not your father.
Jesus. Why do you,
On next week's episode.
why do you think that he thought that was the right time? Because he clearly thought that was the correct time to broach it with you. Do you think that it's because it was related to such like a life-changing event for him and you?
I think it is really, really complex, and I don't think I will ever really understand or know the real answer, to be honest. Like, it's not like I haven't tried to work that out between then and now, but I think honestly it is trauma. I think that maybe he had wanted me to know for a while. And I think that when my mum was alive, she wanted to protect me and do what she thought was the right thing, because that's obviously what medical professionals had advised.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell them. And mum would only have ever, you know, her only ever intentions were to protect me. And yeah, like the day before your mum's funeral, like...
Not the best timing.
No, not the best timing. But also, on reflection, maybe it was the right time, because I parked it. I parked it for 12 years. Like, I didn't do anything with that information until I felt like sane enough to want to. Mm-hmm. Or feel not sane enough. Well, yeah, sane enough, but also the need or want for connection again, or, you know, the want or need to feel whole.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, or like the craving for, yeah, like not family, but like the craving to feel, I don't know,
A sense of belonging?
yeah,
To find
Yeah.
your clan.
and to find like something to not replace the love of a mother, but to, I don't know, just fix something that didn't feel whole.
Yeah. You're such a loving person. Like, you just ooze love for people, and you just take care of people. It's just who you are naturally. And I think you had so much love to give. And you're like, this needs to be put out there in the world. Because that's how it feels being sisters with you.
Oh God, guys! I don't know. I like it's really strange to talk about. Like, it's really weird, and I feel, yeah. And I don't know about you girls, but I feel like I only really talk about this as a situation if I'm like laughing my way through it, or like if I don't know, like we're all word vomiters. Like, aren't we? Like, the three of us are just like the massive, like the biggest oversharers on the planet. And it's like, I feel like I just do it sometimes to, I don't know, like fill a silence or, you know, but I'm like, I don't know. I find it really strange to just talk about in...
I know what you mean. Like, I'm happy to talk about it on a surface level where it's like an interesting story that, you know, sounds almost... in a way, it actually sounds super fictional.
Yeah.
Like, we went to Nat's wedding dress fitting this morning, and I was very happy to almost tell Jeanette about the entire story. But if someone asks me how do I actually feel about it, I feel quite hot and clammy really opening up about it. Really strange.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to say it on a night out.
Yeah.
It's like a fun fact.
Yeah.
But not to delve into properly, because it does feel a little bit Pandora's boxy.
What was in that tea you gave her? Because you're so right. That is it. That's exactly it. I don't want to take up space, like telling people. But if we don't, then no one will understand what being donor conceived is. And there are a hell of a lot of people that are. And I think we owe it to the next lot who are going to be donor conceived. I mean, luckily for them, the laws changed and stuff, but we shouldn't be, you can't hide me away, you know, like, we shouldn't be a taboo subject of how we came about.
Yeah.
How would you have liked to have found out?
I don't, but this is the wild thing, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, if my mum was still alive and like she's sort of sat down with me and said the same thing,
Yeah.
like, I probably would have felt the same way. When I did that DNA test, it was not I never in a million years thought that I would discover the two of you. Like, that wasn't why I did that test. Like, I did it.
You wish you hadn't done it now.
I did that DNA test because I literally, grew up thinking that I was half Hungarian and like a quarter Hungarian and a quarter Polish. And, have all these, like, actually, to be honest, like, I feel like quite deeply connected to both of those places, like, through my childhood and spending time there, and, from, like, my father who brought me up, like, hearing all of his childhood stories, etc., etc. And, yeah, like, I just wanted to find out where I was from, where the other half of me was from, in all honesty. Like, I was like...
Yeah, which I think is a normal thing when you're trying to seek some form of, like, confirmation on identity. Is this a good time for us to say, when we took the tests, what did you expect to come back? And what actually came back?
Yeah. You go first, Gem.
Okay, so this is, guys, it's really big. The difference is huge for me. I grew up thinking that I was, half Welsh with a little bit of Irish in there, on English on my mum's side, and the results came back and I was... Biologically, the donor is Welsh with a little bit of Irish, so...
But those 8 weeks...
Spun!
Head spun.
Yeah.
Also, in those 8 weeks when you didn't know, when you're waiting for the results to come back.
Yeah. Were you nervous during that period? Because I wasn't.
I was.
But then again, like, maybe the two of you were seeking something other than just knowing what half,
I think ours is ever so slightly different because Gemma and I did grow up together in the same household. Our mum and dad, we believed to be the same parents. We also found out in a moment of trauma, our parents were getting divorced, and that's how it got broached to us. And so for 8 weeks, we had a situation where we didn't know if we would be conceived from the same donor, or actually if we were even donor conceived at all, because obviously the information given to parents going through that during the 80s or 90s was plausible deniability, never say that you've used donor sperm, and the doctors would mix, well, supposedly they actually didn't, but they would tell their clients that they would mix the father's sperm and the donor sperm together, so you would never know.
What?
Yeah, wild, right? but obviously they never would have done that because it would have really ruined the quality of the sperm.
Yeah.
But that's what Mum was told.
That's the BS that was spun. Helen and I, just to recap, found out we were donor conceived at the same time, and then we lived a life for 8 whole weeks that felt like a very long time, thinking that we had different donors, because the chances of being from the same donor were so unlikely. Helen got her results in before mine, which is so unfair because we sent them off at the same time, but Helen got hers back early, and it said who, like where you were from. The donor wasn't on the list, so we didn't know him. It wasn't on there.
But it was clear that it was no names that I originally would have thought would have been on there. So it was clear that I was a product of a donor, of a donation even.
Yeah. I got my results a week later.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're getting all the same people popping up.
Well,
like DNA matches.
That we were sisters. That's the giveaway.
Helen, that was my next line.
Sorry.
Not the most obvious thing.
Oh my gosh, it says here that you're my sister.
Coolest thing is that we have got the same donor because it marked a point in donor conceiving history at that funny time, that grey area where people were starting to think about it ethically.
Yeah.
So the doctor, who we're not going to name on here, because for legal reasons, and it's not fair to, probably, because we haven't asked him. So whether he wrote it on a Post-it note put Helen in the freezer, you know, said they're going to come back in a bit and they're going to try and have another baby. Keep a bit
Have
to
you
the
asked
side.
your mum about this?
She didn't know.
She had no idea.
She had no idea that they had frozen some.
And they'd kept some aside.
For her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't know. Because no one spoke to each other.
So then when your mum was like, when your mum was like, no, I want to have another child with your dad.
Yeah.
Well, they were like, oh, we'll go back to the clinic.
Yeah.
And then the guy was like,
I think it had already been discussed that they would want to try for a second one.
oh, so then they were like, okay, well, we'll
Yeah.
just save a bit.
But they never let them know
Oh.
that they put a bit to the side.
And I mean, I think that's probably a good time for us to say that is fairly rare. But again, as Gemma said, it was on the grey area of where ethics was starting to creep in.
Helen was born in 1991. February 1991. Correct. And the law changed later that year.
In August, yeah. So I
August.
just missed the boat.
Just missed the boat. But I think it's just lovely. I think it's lovely to know that with your immaculate conception, that you were really considered and you were planned and thought
Yes,
about.
that is nice, actually. I will say.
Whereas they popped to the shops for us.
Yours
And
was
what
lucky
is mad? What is mad? Hold on. What's our age gap?
Oh my God, it's like, what, like 2 weeks or something?
2 weeks is the age difference between me and Nat.
Yeah.
So arguably, same donor,
Same
hospital, same doctor. I was 2 weeks late.
You could have had the same birthday.
Whoa, imagine.
Yeah, I'm the 20th.
No, I'm the 9th.
Okay.
Guys,
Like-
so statistically, it's not going to be just you. There'll be loads of other people.
Who was in the waiting room that day? Because he went from blop, blop, blop to like,
right.
patients.
Right, though. It
Yeah.
would have been who was there, because they
Oh my
would do
God,
it
yeah.
with what donation would have been most fresh, surely.
Good grief.
God.
Yummy.
Actually. So during that awkward, weird 8-week period where we were both waiting for our results to come in, and we thought that we had like different donors, and it was like this sort of, bearing in mind it was peak lockdown, and we could only get together because we didn't live together at the time.
No.
We went for dog walks, didn't we? Because that was all we could do. And do you remember the conversations that we had, like the flights of fancy?
Sorry, it's not flights of fancy for me. It's what I should have had on
Go
my
on.
results, and I was robbed for it.
What?
I was convinced I was going to be Swedish,
Yeah, I see it.
right? Love ABBA. I used to come home from school and chow down on roll mop herrings. Where's that come from? I loved the stuff. Couldn't get enough. So I thought that's got to be a identity driven for me. It must be. Imagine how I felt when instead I wished, but that's not what graced my screen. And absolutely nothing wrong with being Welsh or Irish. I was just really excited to have something
The possibility.
bit more interesting. Is what I wanted.
Because it was the narrative that you knew. And you were giving
It's
it back.
literally exactly what I'd grown up thinking. I was like, oh, cool. So, yeah, really upsetting. I shouldn't say that. I don't want to offend anybody, but Swedish would have been better. I think I just basically heavily bleached my hair at that time as well, which gave me a sort of like identity dysmorphia. What did you expect to see?
I thought I was going to be Greek.
Why?
Well, I've got like a Jewish nose. That obviously came from my mother. I've got dark hair. It's quite curly. And then, I was like, well, obviously, they would have picked a donor. Obviously, at this time, not knowing that they wouldn't have even fucking known who the donor was or anything about him. But like, I was like, clearly they chose a Greek man. Look at me. And then obviously it came back and, what is it? Irish and Welsh? Yeah. But great.
Yeah,
Very
of course.
happy.
Yeah.
Very happy with that.
More Irish than Helen and I were raised thinking. So we thought that the Irish originally before Donor Conceived Discovery Day, which should become a national holiday after this episode goes out. We were like a fraction Irish, but now we're more Irish. It's more 50-50 on that side, isn't it? Helen, just say yes.
Yes. Sorry.
You Right, so to conclude, I think we can safely say that we have a stronger sense of identity and belonging since finding out that we're donor conceived, that we each had a bit of a void period of uncertainty and weirdness, but we all had this weird feeling like we had to know. And we think it all came from maybe how we found out. But we would love to know if other people who were donor conceived or maybe found out that there was something going on in their upbringing and they didn't feel like anything was quite right. Something felt off, or they didn't connect properly maybe in their childhood. Who knows? Anything. We would love to hear from you. Our email address is spermsisterspodcast@gmail.com. So please email us because we gotta stick together, right?
Right.
Thank you so much for listening. Follow along on YouTube, Spotify, and we'll catch you next time. Have a lovely week. Woo! Is that right?